You most recently were contracted to NWA, correct? Because I remember when
Correct.
that deal was coming up. And obviously, they were in a very wild state of flux. You could argue that they still are in a state of flux. But when that deal was coming up, things had changed significantly. The world had changed. There had been some issues with obviously executives there. What went into your decision to not remain there, or was it a company decision? Was it a mutual decision? How did that work?
That was a mutual decision. Me getting out of my contract with NWA. So my contract was going to end in December anyway. And what had happened was, let me backtrack a little bit. So pandemic hits, we were doing Carneyland, we're just doing digital content. Once that stopped and we didn't do anything for a while, and then we started working with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And we did Primetime Live a little bit. I only did one of those episodes, Wrestling Nicole Savoy. That was September. And we were always allowed, well, I was only with NWA for what, like 2 years maybe, but we were always allowed to work the indies. And then when pandemic is hit and we're doing Primetime Live now and not the YouTube show, we were told they didn't want us to work the indies anymore, which I was like, okay, we're, doing stuff with Primetime. You want to make sure people are, well, here was the thing. I'm sorry, I should clarify. We weren't allowed to do any streaming indies. But the thing is,
Okay.
that was all the indies. That's all
Yes.
the indies at that point.
That's how they're making their money back these days.
Yes, the only real indies that were able to run that were going to pay you were the ones who were streaming because they're either no audience or very limited capacity. So that basically meant we couldn't work the indies.
And even before the pandemic, it was going that way an awful lot. Like there's streams of everything now.
Yeah, a lot of things, a lot of streaming. Unless I want to do like a random show in a backyard in Michigan, which definitely was happening during the pandemic, which was not going to pay me very well. So so we were told like not to do that. And at that time, I actually had already agreed to do Bloodsport and Shimmer in October. So I did tell them like I'm doing these shows. Like I already agreed to it. They already advertised me. I'm doing them. But after that, fine, whatever. I won't do them for the rest of the year, sure. But then the Primetime Live deal ended pretty quickly. And then we were doing nothing. And we tried to get Power to come back. We were pushing for Power to come back in December. And we just, kept being told, no, 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 we're going to wait. And so I did reach out and I said, if we're not going to do Primetime and we're not going to do Power this year, I would like to be able to work the indies. I need to be able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And our pays, all of our pay was cut to some extent during the pandemic. So I needed to make money. And my request was to be allowed to work the indies. But the response was, well, we can let you out of your contract for the next 2 months. I only had 2 months left anyway. I didn't think it was necessary to let me out of it, but I was like, okay, I'll go work the indies then. I knew I was going to make more money on the indies than I was making with my current pay since they were coming back. So I had to do what I had to do to pay my bills. And then AEW popped up right after, that was a roller coaster of a week.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to talk about that. What's your relationship with the NWA like right now? Is it positive? Is it amicable?
We're on good terms. We are on good terms. Billy made that very clear when we signed the release papers. We're on good terms. I do want the fans to know that I wanted to be there. I do want the fans to know that everyone that was on the roster, well, I can't speak for everyone, I suppose, but I would say the majority of the roster in January 2020, everyone that was there that I was talking to anyway, wanted to be there. Everyone wanted to be there, and don't let anyone ever tell you any different.
It was a good roster too, as we've seen. Like there's just supremely talented members of that roster. People seem to like working with Billy Corgan. I've heard almost nothing but good things from talent about working with him. How was that?
At the shows, he was approachable, I would say, at the shows. He was hands-on, but like we also had like other people that we went to for a lot of the logistical things. So I feel like I didn't talk to him too much, but he always seemed very approachable. And we had a good crew at the shows. I mean, once the pandemic hit and you are only talking to people via email and stuff, I don't know, it changes, obviously. It's different. Everyone went through a lot during the pandemic, obviously. And I don't know. It was fine. It was fine. I'll just say that.
Are you open to working with them in the future? Are you open to a return if the situation facilitates itself, whether it be under a contract or on a per appearance basis?
I'm open to it. Yeah. I don't know that I would sign another contract, to be honest with you, but I'm open to working with them again, depending on the circumstances.